Hi all, welcome to this class. As part of this class, let's see about classes and objects. So as you guys know, these two topics are very important topics in the Java programming language, and it is a fundamental topic. Without this, we cannot understand anything about Java. So these are the basic pillars. So let's experiment, you know, about these two topics. So what is our plan? As part of this session, we will see about what is class and what is object. We will see with the real-time examples. Okay. Then we will see like what happens when we are creating the object and what happens, when we are creating the class, how the objects, are stored in the heap memory, and we will see like with real time example how we can go with classes and object, how we can use it, and finally we will experiment with programs, and then we will have our Q&A. So first let's see about class. What is class? We can say class is a template for the objects, or you can say class is a blueprint. So before building a building, so what happens? Site engineer or building engineer, he gives high level blueprint, right? Any engineer who is responsible for building the project, building the building, so what he does, he designs high level blueprint. So once design is finalized, blueprint is finalized, so you will be start working actual building. So same way, class also it is a blueprint. It means it is a template. So what we can do inside class, we will define, we will mention all the specifications and functionalities. So by using class, what we can do? Here inside class, we can mention what are the things to be there. So it is basically, it is a logical entity, correct? So, and also class does not exist physically. Correct? Class does not exist physically. So in shorter word, if I say class is a blueprint, so it is not, it does not exist physically. And by using class, what we can do? You can define the patterns or specifications, how the class should be there, what are the functionalities we can define inside a class. Correct? And also I can say class is a logical entity. Class is a logical entity. Class is a logical entity. And main thing is class does not exist physically because it is a template. Even we can say blueprint does not exist physically, right? Because it's a template. It's a plan. Same way class also does not exist physically, but it exists logically, correct? And what is the main benefit of a class? By using, what is the main benefit of blueprint? By using blueprint, correct, the building engineer can build the building. That is the main benefit. Same way, what is the main benefit of a class? By using a class, we can create any number of objects. That's the main purpose. By using the class, we can create any number of objects. So even if you don't understand all these concepts, no issues. We will revisit this slide again. We will revisit this slide again. So what we do here, our next topic will be our next topic will be objects. Our next topic will be objects. So what is mean by object? As I said in the previous class, as I said in the previous slide, so class actually it exists logically, right? By using class, what we can do? By using class, what we can do? we can create any number of objects. And object exists physically, correct? Object you can compare with the building. Class you can compare with the blueprint. Class you can compare with the blueprint, right? So, and whatever properties, whatever we have defined inside the class, correct, those are the functionalities, those are the properties. So whatever we have mentioned inside the class, objects, what it does, it acquires all the properties, from the class, correct? And as I said, object exists physically, and an object is an instance of the class. Let's you know, understand what is meant by instance, because instance is a new word we are hearing, right? Instance is nothing but object. If I say in a blind word, so instance is nothing but object. The another name for object is instance. So what we are telling, object is from class. By using class, we can create any number of objects. By using class, we can create any number of objects. Let's see one real-time example. Consider, okay, group of people from hospital, they are going to different IT companies, correct? They are going to different IT companies. What they are doing? So they are going there and they are conducting one medical checkup. So what they will do? All the employees are going to the medical checkup, and before doing the medical checkup, so they are having on form, correct? They are having on printed form. So that form contains all these three details. They are asking what is the employee ID, what is the employee name, and what is the company. What is the company? What is the company? So what will happen? What will happen? So basically one employee goes and what he does, he takes, you know, one form. This is the actual form. You can say this is the blueprint, or you can say this is this represents class, correct? So one employee can take it, and what he can do, he can fill his own detail. So ID he can mention 100, name he can mention Mercy, company he can mention Google, correct? So once he filled those filled data, we can consider it is a actual data, right? I can say it is a actual class. Sorry, it is a actual object, right? Because it contains the data. So by using this class, what we can do, we can create any number of objects. We can create any number of objects. By using this class, we can create any number of object, correct? So any number of objects we can able to create it. So consider like this is the original form you are having. You are going to Xerox shop and taking 100 number of copies, correct? And you are distributing to 100 employees. 100 employees can fill their own data, right? So the original form is called as class, correct? The filled data, I mean, you can say it as object. So what happens? One employee, what he does? He takes the original form, he fills the data, id as 100, name as Mercy, company as Google, correct? Second employee comes and what he does, second employee takes one more form and he prints id as 200, name as Angel, company as IBM. Third employee takes one more form and he fills his own data. I trust now you guys understood what is meant by class and what is meant by object from the very high level. Okay, so let's see what class will be containing it. Correct? What the class contains. Correct? So, as I said, class will be having all the functionality, right? Where we can represent logical entity, where we could able to represent logical entity. Correct? So, what basically class will be containing? Class will be containing two things. Class will be containing two things. One is like data members, second one is a method. Correct? Inside a class you can declare data members and methods. This is very important properties of a class. So what I do, you might be having question now, what is mean by data members, or I can say member variables, right? So what is mean by data member? So let's go here. So what is, like, I can say different words, correct? Either I can say it is member variables, or I can say it is variables. In specific word, if I say it is instance variables, correct? It means it is belongs to object. So it is instance variables, member variables, or I can say it is attributes, or I can say it is a properties. All are same, correct? All these are same. So class can have member variables. And second thing, what class can have? First one, class can have member variables, right? Second thing, class can have methods or functions. Some people will say function, but in Java we should use word called methods instead of functions. So in C or C++, it is often referred as functions, but in Java we will say as method. So class, mostly it will be containing two things. One is variables, second one is methods. The other names for variables are instance variables or member variables, attributes, properties. Correct? You can name anything. So that's what we are seeing in the slide. Class is the collection of data members and methods. See, this is our class, right? This is the syntax actually. So this is our class. What the class contains? So class basically contains, if I say class name, class is a keyword, right? If I mention class keyword, it means it is completely object oriented, correct? Everything goes inside class. And here we can mention, you can give any names. Here you can give any names, correct? The class name should be meaningful. So what basically it contains? It contains data members and methods. Class mostly contains two things. One is like data members. Second one is a methods. Let's go to next slide. Let's deep dive. So we have seen one example, right? What example we have seen before? We have seen this is our actual form, right? Basically, this class contains ID, name, and company. It is a logical entity. It does not have any physical data, correct? So let's try to design this class in coding. So this is our employee class, correct? As I said, this is our employee class. What it contains? It contains two things. What are those two things? One is like, I can say variables, correct? One is variables, or I can say data members or properties or attributes. You can name anything. And also you can name it is non-static variable. Why you are telling it is non-static variable? Because there is no keyword. You guys might have remember, if you mention static int id, it means if I mention static keyword, that is called static variables, right? Suppose if I don't mention anything, if I declare inside a class without static variable, then it is called as instance variables or non-static variables. Both the names are same. Why I mentioned this is instance variables? Because instance means object. These variables are, it belongs to class, but these are used in object. So class here it contains two things. One is instance variables or non-static variables. All the names are same, so you no need to be confused. Correct? It is not local variable. It is not local variable. It is not local variable. Correct? What is meant by local variable? If you declare any variables inside a method or block, that is called local variable. Correct? If you define any class, any variables which is inside a method or block, that is called local variables, right? Inside a method, that is called local variable. Correct. Suppose if you define any variables with static keyword, we have seen in our previous tutorials, previous sessions, if any variables declared inside a class, not inside a method, inside a class with static keyword, that is called static variables. Correct? Suppose consider I am defining one variable here. Correct? I am defining one variable here with static. Correct? Now I can say this is a static variable, right? Because it is defined. It is defined by using static keyword. ID, I can say it is a static variable, right? So that is called static variable. Correct? So what is the TAD variable? TAD variable we are seeing now is instance variable or non-static variable. You can name anything, both are same. So better to name as professionally instance variables. What is mean by instance variable? If any variables, if you are defining inside a class without static keyword, that is called instance variable. Correct? Without static keyword, if we define any variables inside a class, we should not define inside a method. We should define inside a class. That is called instance variables. There are main difference. Even in interviews also we will be getting like this questions. What's the difference between local variables, static variables, and instance variables? So let's go back to our session. Okay, so what we are trying to design? We are trying to design an actual employee class. The actual employee class contains 3 instance variables. Correct? The another name of non-static variables are called as instance variables. So we are defining 3 instance variables and 1 instance method. Correct? So far we have seen static method. If you define a method with static keyword, it's called a static method. Again, this method you are defining in the class. If you define a method without static keyword, that is called instance method or non-static method. If you define a method without static keyword, here display name is without non-static keyword, right? We didn't mention any static keyword here. We didn't mention any static keyword here. This is called instance method. We will see what exactly the difference in the future session. For now you can understand, if I mention keyword with static, that is called static variable or static method, or if I don't mention keyword, correct, so without static keyword, that is called Instance method. Correct. So let's go ahead. Here we have designed one class. Let's go ahead with next thing. This is very important. We can concentrate how to create objects. Correct. In the previous slide, we have seen how to create class. Correct. In the coming slide, we will see how to create objects. This is our main session. Okay. For now, we will use Eclipse for how to create objects. Correct. In future class, we will see how to use Eclipse. I'm going with your new class. Consider like class name as employee. Correct. This is our employee class. What it does? Class employee has two things. Correct. What are the things we are having? We have seen methods and variables, right? Methods and variables. So what we are going to see? We are going to see employee ID. I am defining on one ID attribute. Without static keyword, I can say all are instance variables. Below are instance variables or non-static variables. Below are instance variables or non-static variables. Okay. One is ID, correct? What is the next attributes we are having inside class? Another one is name, another one is company. So I'm going with string name and string company. Correct? String company. These are all are instance variables. Let's go with method. How I can declare instance method? How I can declare with instance method? Without static keyword. I'm going with public void. So far, static method means you will be defining like this: public static void. You can say display name. Correct? This is static method. This is called static method. Suppose if I define without static keyword, this is called instance method. This is called instance method. Okay, you are just keeping something else. Okay, this is how you can create the class. As I said, here we are defining our logical entity. Here we are defining the functionality. Class means it should have these three attributes and one instance method. Now let's go with, okay, what we can do is, even we can create one more class also. We can use that class into here. Let me create one more class. I'm going with one more class called client one. Okay, this is my class. Let's go with client two. This is our another new class. What we are doing inside this new class, I am going to create object to employee class. I am going with main method. Correct. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create object to employee class. So you can concentrate little careful because these are important. So how to create object? The first step is, let's see in the slide. So the first step is, you can use new keyword, correct? What you are going to do, you are using new keyword. For which class I am going to create object? I am going to create object to employee class. I am going to create object to employee class. First step is by using new keyword, correct? Let me go inside client to. Inside client to class, I am going to create object to employee class. How we can go it? We can use new keyword. New, for which class you are going to create object? There can be multiple classes, right? Employee class can be there, student class can be there, user class can be there, person class can be there. there can be different classes. You need to mention for which class you are going to create object, which blueprint you are going to use. There can be different blueprints. For apartment there can be separate blueprint, for 2 bhk, 3 bhk, different blueprints, right? Which which blueprint you are going to use for constructing actual building. So same way, like which class you are going to use for creating the objects. I am going to use employee class, so let me go with employee, correct? And you need to mention this open bracket and square, this one, open and close brackets. So put semicolon. This is the first step. This is the first step. So listen little carefully. So what we are going to see here is we are going to creating the objects, correct? Our point is we are going to create the objects. So let's go with creating objects. So what is our first step? Our first step is by using new keyword. This is our first step. We are going to create by using new employee of, correct? By using like this, you can create, you have successfully created one object to employee class. You have successfully created one object to employee class. By using new keyword, what you have done, whenever you type something like this, it means you have successfully created one object to employee class. What is the second step? Second step is creating one reference variable, because objects are stored in the heap memory. In the later slide we will be seeing it how objects are stored. So for referring that object, the second step is we will be creating an instance variable, correct? We will be creating an instance variable. How to create an instance variable? Again it is simple. You will be going with, you know, what type of instance variable you want to create, which is the reference point. I am going to create one instance variable, reference variable with e1. Listen carefully. Here the second step is, first step is we have created one object by using new keyword. Second step is we are creating one reference variable. This is a pointer which is used to point the physical object. The second step is creating the reference variable, correct? First one is creating the objects, creating the object, correct? By using new keyword, correct? By using new keyword you have created one object. Second step is creating the reference variable, creating the reference variable. This is a kind of pointer which is used to refer the object which is there in the heap memory. How to create? Again it is simple. For which class you want to create the reference variable? Either employee class or student class, correct? If the object is employee class, create reference variable as employee class. If the object is student class, create the reference variable as student. It is simple. Both the reference variable and object should be same type. For now you can think about it, it is same type, correct? In future class we will see one more condition, either it can be same type or super type, that we will see in future class. So second step is we have created one reference variable for which, what is the reference variable type? Employee type. Then second one is you can give any name here, any reference variable name, any name here. Name should be meaningful. So what we are giving, we can give E1 or OBJ1, anything is fine, correct? So we can give it as E1. We can give it as E1. So second step is we have created one reference variable. Third step is linking the reference variable with the object, correct? We reference variable should point, right? Reference variable should point. How it can point? By assigning it. What I am doing? I am assigning like this, something like this I am assigning. Correct? What we are doing here is we have created one object, first step. Second step is we have created one reference variable. Third step is linking the object and the reference variable. Whenever I assign like this, it means the reference variable is pointing to the physical object. The reference variable is pointing to the physical object, employee object. Correct? So third one is linking the object and the reference variable. Correct? How we can do? By using assignment operator. Correct? By using the assignment operator. How we can do? We can mention like, something like this. Employee E1 equal to, here equals matters, new employee of. This is the third step. So when we are writing code like this, it means the physical object which is there in the heap memory, so it is pointed by the reference variable. Let's go ahead. Now let's experiment more things. First step, as I said, one is like object creation. Correct? By, or I can say another name. Creating object, I can say instantiation. Please note down this word also. Creating object, what I can say? Instantiating employee object or instantiation. Object creation is called as instantiation. Correct? Instantiation. Correct? I can say in simple word, I am instantiating employee class. What it means? It means I am creating one object to employee class. If we say instantiate employee class, it means creating object to employee class. Instantiate student class, it means create object to student class or creating the object to student class. That is what we are seeing in this slide. So object creation or instantiation is the first step. Second step is creating the reference variable. The point which we have seen here is the reference variable and the object creation both should be same type. See here also it is employee type, correct? Object also, the creation also employee type, reference variable also should be employee type. For now you can understand both should be same type. Later sessions we will see in depth on that. Let's dive into next step. What happens? Listen carefully. What happens when we are creating first step? Whenever I am using new employee of, it means it is instantiating employee class. It means instantiating employee class. Correct? So whenever we are creating object, what happens? There is a memory called heap memory in Java. Correct? There is a memory area called heap memory. What happens when we are creating one new keyword? By using that, what happens? It will create one object. See here in the heap memory, one physical object is created. Correct? So what that object contains? It contains ID, name, company, because class will be containing what class contains. It contains all this data, right? ID, name and company. Correct? This is the blueprint. Correct? The class contains. When I am creating an object by using new keyword, all the properties of object is correct available in the employee class. Correct? It is available in the object because we created an object to employee class. What employee class contains? It contains ID, name, company, and one method called display name. So all these properties are available in the object. When I create a new object in the heap memory, this is the memory area for storing all the objects. Whenever you are creating any objects by using new keyword or any other way, all objects will be stored in the heap memory. All objects are stored in the heap memory. Correct? All objects live in the heap memory. So this is the first step. And also, whenever we are creating one instance means object, right? Whenever we are instantiating a class, the physical object is created in the heap memory, and what happens? All the instance variables are loaded into memory. All are initialized with the default values. Listen, all are initialized. What is the default value for int? 0. For string and all, name. For all the primitive like byte short, int long, all will be 0. Float and double will be 0.0, and character will be empty char. Boolean will be false. All derived data type will be null. Correct? All derived data type will be null. So when we are creating an object, all the instance variables, correct, will be loaded in the memory with the default values. This is one of the important point. Now what happens? Who is pointing? Now you created second step. What you have done? You have created one reference variable. Correct? You have created one reference variable. Correct? Employee E1. Employee E1, what it does? It is same type. It is pointing now. See, it is referring, right? See here, employee is the reference variable, because in heap memory objects are stored randomly. Please note down this point. In heap memory, it can be stored, objects can be stored anywhere in the heap memory. Correct? And objects stored randomly, right? Objects stored in the heap memory. Randomly. Correct? So suppose there can be thousands of objects, right? Any number of objects can be there in the heap memory, right? Any number of objects can be there in the heap memory. So how we can reach these objects? Because it is stored randomly. If I want to retrieve particular object, it's not the easy way, right? That's where reference variable comes into picture. Now you would have understand why we need reference variable. Simply to point, if at all, if I want to access particular object by using that reference variable, I can point, right? Here I can access this object by using E1. E1 is the reference variable here. Correct? By using this, I can access this particular object here. Correct? Let's go ahead. Next slide. Now listen carefully what I am doing. I am creating one object. Correct? I am creating one object. Now what I am doing, I want to access, as we seen like in the previous slide, whenever I create object, all will be loaded with default values, ID, name, company. I want to access because I want to keep data like this. My physical data should be there. First employee should be containing, correct? What first employee should be containing? He should be having actual data 100, ID as 100, name as Mercy, company as Google. Second employee should be having ID as 200, name as Angel, company as IBM. Like that, I want to keep or inject the data into object. I want to inject the data into object. So what I can do? How I can access the particular member? Either variable or methods. How I can access? Suppose if at all I want to access ID, how I can access? We already seen that objects we can access through reference variable. If I want to access ID, I can access e1.id, correct? I can access e1.id. True reference I can access e1.name. If I want to access company, e1.company. If I want to access method, e1.display name, correct? By using true reference, what I can do? I can access all these instance variables and instance methods. True reference variable, I can access all the instance variables and instance methods, because by default it is loaded with the default values. I want to keep actual values. So now let's go with our program. So what I'm going to do? We are going to play with our program. So let's access e1.name. I'm going to give name as Mercy, correct? Then second one is I'm going to access e1.id. You can give in any order, that doesn't matter. Okay, id is integer type. I'm giving 100. Order doesn't matter, you can give any order. Then e1.company, I'm giving the company name as she is the employee of Google, correct? She works in Google. This is how you can access the private members. Before doing this, I want to experiment one more thing. Let's remove this. Let's try to print all the things. How I can print ID? I can print using reference variable, correct? e1.id, e1.name, and e1.company. Let's run it. Correct? How you can run? It is simple. Right click, run as, run configuration, correct? So you can select client 2, because client 2 class we are going to run. Okay, so we need to close one more parenthesis. Now run again. So you can go with run as, run configuration, press run. You are getting output, right? By default it is loaded with the default values 0, null and null. I am going to modify, correct? I am just printing some statement. Okay, loaded with default values, correct? Now what we are doing? We are going to modify. We are modifying e1 dot name equal to Mercy, e1 dot id equal to 100. The company where she works is Google. e1 dot company equal to Google. Now you modified. Correct? Now you modified. Now when you are modifying, what happens? You are modified, right? All the data you are given. So when you are modifies, so this is the employee class. What happens in the if memory? First it is when you created the first step with employee e1 equal to new employee of, it has created with the default values, right? When I am reassigning it, e1.id, e1.name, e1.company, what happens? New values are stored in those objects. See here, id is stored with 100, name with Mercy, and company with Google. Correct? Company with Google. Now, how I can print it? It's simple. Now, after modifying, again I am printing all the properties. Listen little carefully. Okay, I am just printing something like this. To understand, I can say actual values. Correct? Now let me run it. Just try to understand. Let me run it. See, now you are getting right actual value. What is the ID? What is the ID which is there available in the heap memory now? e1.id. It is nothing but 100. e1.name Mercy, e1.company Google. Same output you are getting, right? Beginning, all the instance variables or non-static variables are loaded with the default values. Then we are trying to modify. Correct? We are trying to modify. We are trying to modify with actual values. Correct? This is how you can create class and objects. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one more object. How I can create one more object? It's simple again. Correct? It is simple again. Let me remove. You guys learned it, right? Let me remove this. Again consider I'm going to create one more object. Simply create by using, if I use new keyword, again one more object will be created. Reference variable should be unique. Again, I cannot name it as E1. Compiler will give compile time error. See, here we are getting duplicate local variable. Correct? Because it is defined inside method. That's why it is called local variable. Each reference variable should be unique. I have created one more object. Again, it is simple. You can create any number of objects. Correct? Any number of objects you can create. Now, again, even I can assign some values to next thing also. How I can create, how I can assign? You can assign anywhere. Let me assign here e2 dot. What is the value we are getting as part of our thing? So second object should be the name as Angel. Correct? ID as 200, name as Angel, company as IBM. So how I can access second object? Because now two objects are there in the heap memory. Two objects are there in the heap memory. I need to access through second reference. There can be thousands of objects in the heap memory. Correct? There can be thousands of objects. All will be pointed by, all will be referred by different reference variables. Different reference variables. Correct? Each one we need to access with, okay, unique reference variable. Correct? Unique reference variable. Correct? So first we are printing first object, second we are printing second object. Correct? So again you need to change the reference name because you are accessing through E2. Shall we run it? It's clear? Let's run it again. Okay, you will be seeing. So what will be the output? See here, first object is having 100 Mercy Google, second object is having 200 Angel IBM. Correct? Object cannot have any names. Object cannot have any names. Correct? So let's try to experiment more. Okay, let's go ahead. Suppose consider I am removing everything. Okay, I am removing everything. I want to access the things. First object, let's go ahead. So what we have seen in the first object? In the first object, when we created, it is loaded with some values, right? So actual values. Now, if I call e1 dot display name, what it will print? e1 dot display name, if I call, what it will print? This is how you can access the instance method, right? Because it is a instance method, correct? Because it is a instance method. So I can access e1 dot display name. Inside display name, what you are printing? Inside display name, you are printing name. My name is name. What is the name here? What is the name here in the object? The name is Mercy, correct? The name is Mercy. So what output we will get? If I call e1 dot display name, we are printing something. Let's see our display name properties. Let's make something like this. You can print system.out.println. Okay, my name is. You can access instance variable directly. Okay, for now you can understand. Inside instance method, you can access instance variable directly. This is the point you can note down. Okay, inside instance method, inside instance methods, that is non-static methods, right? We can access instance variables directly. Why we can access instance variables directly? Or instance methods also you can access directly. Instance variables and instance methods we can access directly, correct? Instance variables and instance methods you can access directly. Why? Because all are available inside same object, right? All are available inside same object. Inside display name you can access name directly because all are available in the same object. So inside instance method, you can access instance variables. Suppose one more method is there, consider public void process method. If you want to call process method in display name method, you can directly call process method, correct? The rule is inside instance methods, you can access instance variables and instance methods directly. Here we are accessing name here directly. So same way here we are printing name. Now let's remove, I have removed all the println statement. Now I am trying to access system.out. I no need to use system.out.println. I am trying to access, call the display name. How I can call the display name? By using reference variable e1 dot display name, right? If I want to get first object, what I will do? e1 dot display name. Now if I run, what output I will be getting? I will be getting my name is, what is the name available in e1? How we call this a display method? Display name method, how we call? Listen little carefully. We called on e1 reference. Display name method we called on e1 reference, correct? Display name method we called on e1 reference, correct? So who is pointing e1? E1 is pointing first object. So what is the name inside e1 pointing object? It is Mercy. So this guy is printing my name is name. What is the value we should get? We should get something like this. Let's run this class. See here, are you getting the output? My name is Mercy, correct? My name is Mercy. This is the output, correct? This is the output. We are getting it. True? This is the output we are Getting it. Suppose if I want to access the second object, correct? Again, it is simple, right? It is simple. How you can access? Second object is pointed by E2. One more new object is created, correct? E2 is pointing. One more big circle. E2 is pointing, correct? You are calling E2 dot display name. How we can call? E2 dot display name, right? If I call E2 dot display name, let's call E2 dot display name also. E2 dot display name. What output you will be getting? Inside E2 you are having these values. Name as Angel, right? We are printing display name. We are printing name. What E2 pointing object, E2 pointing reference contains? E2 pointing object consists all this data: ID, name and company, correct? ID, name and company. If I print E2 dot display name, it is printing name. Name means it will be getting Angel. It will be getting Angel. Clear? It will be printing E2 dot name. So let's run it again. See here, first output you are getting Mercy because your E1 pointing variable is Mercy. Second one is E2 dot display, you will be getting Angel. True. Suppose even you can print all the attributes also. Let's create one more method. Okay. Let's create one more method. Public void. Okay. Print. Let's go with one method called print. Okay. Consider I am printing something like this. My name is name and my employee ID is ID and my name is name and my company is the company where he or she works, correct? So the company. Now what I do? I will just, instead of display name, what I will do? I will just use print. This is the print method, right? This is the print method, correct? Print. Now let's run with the first thing. In first method, what you are doing? You are printing ID, name and company, right? You are pointing E1 dot. E1 dot means it has ID, name and company. Let's run it. See, you are getting all the things because inside print method, it's a instance method. You can print everything, right? Directly. You can access instance variables directly. Clear? So that's why you are getting ID 100, name and Mercy, correct? How we can print the second one? It is simple. Again call E2 dot print. That's all, correct? So if I print E2 pointing object will be 200, Angel and IBM. So let's run it again. See here, second object we are getting as employee ID is 200, name is Angel, company is IBM, correct? Company is IBM, correct? So this is how we can play with class and objects. This is how we can play with class and objects. We have experimenting deeply. So let's go back to our slide. Now you will be understanding 100% about all the points. Let's see about what is class. Quickly go through all these points. Class is a template. In the class, we can define all the functionalities or properties. Class is not exist physically because class does not stored anywhere. What about object? But what objects are available in the heap memory? It exists physically, correct? It occupies memory, correct? Class is a logical entity. By using one class, you can create any number of objects, right? By using employee class, you can create any number of objects. Here we have created 2 objects. If you want, you can create any number of objects, right? What about object? We have seen all the points about object also. By using class, we can create objects. Object consists all the properties. Listen carefully. Here I cannot go with one more properties. Suppose it has only 3 properties, ID, name and company. Here in object, I cannot go with one more property as salary. Not possible because it is not there in the blueprint. You will be getting compile time error because object will be containing only the data which is defined in the class. That's why we are calling this class as a blueprint, right? Logical entity. So it can acquire only the properties which are there inside the class. Salary is not there. It cannot, it's clearly says compile time error. Salary cannot resolve or it's not a field. Let's go back. So whatever properties we have mentioned in the class, we have mentioned ID, name and company, all are available in the objects. An object is an instance of the class. It means it is an object. That's what we have seen one real-time example, and we have seen all these examples. Same these examples only we have experimented in our code.